Long ago, in the burning sands of ancient Persia, a creature roamed, one that mankind would soon forget, a chilling echo in the chronicles of myth. For countless generations, its legend was passed down only in hushed tones, a story told to frighten children and warn travelers away from the vast, unforgiving emptiness of the great salt deserts. They say its origins are as old as the mountains themselves, born from the swirling dust and the scorching sun, a physical manifestation of the land's primal, untamed spirit. It was a being of contradictions, a creature that defied the natural order, and its very existence was a dark secret held by the shifting dunes. The desert, after all, is a keeper of many secrets, and this was its most terrifying. Ancient texts, brittle with age and penned by trembling hands, speak of this beast. In scrolls hidden away in forgotten libraries, scholars wrote of a monster forged from nightmare and legend. They called it the Manticore, a name that would become synonymous with terror. Its description was a horrifying mosaic of creatures, part lion, part dragon, part human. This wasn't merely a monster. It was a perversion of nature, a being that combined the ferocity of the wild with a chilling, almost human-like intelligence. The texts describe it not as a simple animal, but as a deliberate creation of some darker power, a test of humanity's courage and a symbol of its deepest, most primal fears. It was the whisper in the wind, the shadow on the dune, the legend that refused to die. Looking closer at the faded ink of these ancient drawings, the creature's form takes shape. Its body was that of a powerful lion, rippling with muscle, built for the hunt. But sprouting from its back were wings like a dragon, leathery and vast, capable of catching the desert winds. And most unsettling of all was its face, which resembled that of a man, yet twisted with a malevolent cunning. Its eyes, they say, held a piercing intelligence, reflecting the darkest fears of any who dared to look into them. It was as if humanity's own capacity for cruelty and deception was mirrored in this monstrous visage. The Manticore was a predator, but its human-like face suggested something more sinister, a thinking, feeling malevolence that hunted not just for hunger, but for sport. When night fell over the desert, a deeper fear would grip the hearts of all who lived nearby. As sandstorms rose like angry spirits, two glowing red eyes would sometimes pierce the swirling darkness. Shadows, long and distorted, would slither between the dunes. The Manticore was a creature of the night, a phantom of the sands, but its most horrifying trait was a cruel trick it played on its prey. Legends claim it could perfectly mimic the human voice, whispering the last words of its previous victims into the ears of its next. A lost child calling for their mother, a dying soldier pleading for water, lures of false hope in the desolate expanse, and after the final, terrifying moment, it would devour them completely, leaving no bones, no trace, nothing but silence and the ever-shifting sands. Because of this, travelers learned to fear the night. The safety of a caravan or the light of a campfire offered little comfort against such a foe. The Manticore's shadow could appear at any moment, swift, silent, and utterly merciless. Its roar, they said, was not a simple animal cry, but a discordant sound, like the clashing of trumpets and the screaming of 100 voices at once. Many who heard that sound were paralyzed by fear, unable to run, unable to fight. They would simply stand and wait as the shadow fell upon them. The desert at night was its kingdom, and all who trespassed did so at their own peril. For the Manticore was the undisputed, unseen king of the dunes, a hunter without equal. Legends tell of its massive wings, carrying it silently over the sands, unseen, unstoppable. It was a master of stealth, using the desert itself as its camouflage. The wind was its ally, masking its approach, and the night was its shroud, hiding it from sight until it was too late. Unlike other predators, it didn't need to stalk its prey on the ground. It could descend from the blackened sky like a bolt of lightning, a silent angel of death from above. The people of the desert learned to read the signs, a sudden stillness in the air, an unnatural silence where the insects should be chirping, the feeling of being watched from an unseen height. These were the heralds of the Manticore, the final warning before the inevitable strike. Over the centuries, many brave and foolish men tried to hunt it. Kings sent their finest warriors, and rich nobles offered fortunes for its head. They would charge into the storms, swords drawn and torches flickering, convinced their steel and their courage could conquer the beast. None ever returned. The desert kept their secrets, burying their stories, their bones, and their ambitions beneath endless, shifting dunes. The Manticore was more than just a physical challenge. It was a psychological one. It was a creature of the landscape, and to fight it was to fight the desert itself. A battle no mortal could ever hope to win. The would-be heroes became just another meal, their legends absorbed into the greater, more terrifying legend of the beast they sought to destroy. The scribes, the keepers of history, wrote of the Manticore in fear. Their scrolls and tablets became testaments to its reign of terror. They marked the great deserts as cursed land, territory where even the gods dared not tread. Maps were drawn with stark warnings. Here be the Manticore, or the land of the man-eater. These were not tales to entertain, but dire warnings to preserve life. The fear was so profound that entire trade routes were rerouted, and flourishing settlements on the edge of the desert were abandoned, left to be reclaimed by the sand. The creature's influence spread far beyond its physical attacks. It created a geography of fear, shaping the course of human history through sheer terror. One of its most feared weapons was its tail. Unlike a lion's, the Manticore's tail was said to be like that of a scorpion, long, flexible, and tipped with a cluster of deadly spikes. These spikes could be launched like arrows, striking with deadly precision from a distance. The venom they carried was instantly fatal. Those who were lucky enough to see it and live to tell the tale spoke only once of the glistening barbed tail whipping through the air. And then, a profound silence took them too, as the poison worked its way through their veins. It was the creature's final, cruel masterpiece, a weapon that ensured no witness could ever describe its full power. And so the Devourer of Men walks still. Not in flesh and blood perhaps, but in the whispers that linger on the desert wind, in the long shadows that dance on the dunes at dusk, and in the forgotten nightmares of a land steeped in ancient mystery. It is a story that has outlived empires, a legend etched not in stone, but in fear itself. As long as there are desolate places and dark nights, the shadow of the Manticore will continue to haunt the edges of our world. Thank you for journeying with me into this dark legend. If you enjoy exploring the world's most terrifying myths, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more tales from the shadows.